For the first half century after European settlement in the Australian colonies, this was the most common firearm. It was used by the army, by convicts, by settlers, and indeed by the convict bolters, our first generation of bushrangers. It's called a flintlock musket because there's flint on the lock, and that is the ignition system that makes this weapon work. This musket was made by Lacey and Company in Britain and was used to defend Malahide Station in Van Diemen's Land against attacks by bushrangers. Malahide Station was run by the Talbot family, and you can see the Talbot sheep brand burnt into the butt, so the convicts who used this musket to defend that sheep station would not be able to abscond and use it themselves. They would soon be spotted and tracked down by the mounted police. So this particular musket was used on the Australian frontier and was used against bushrangers in Van Diemen's Land in the 1820s and 1830s, possibly even in the 1840s. So what we're going to do is have a look at the mechanism that makes a flintlock musket fire, because this was how challenges were met on the Australian frontier from European settlement through to the 1840s. This flintlock musket uses a disposable paper cartridge with a lead ball and a charge of black powder or gunpowder in it. This is approximately what that paper cartridge looked like. It's carried in a cartridge box, and so most hunters, soldiers and convict bushrangers carried a cartridge box, usually over their right hip, so it was nice and accessible. And the process of getting a cartridge out of the box and loading it into the weapon was rather cumbersome by today's standards. You had to pour a portion of the powder from the cartridge into this part of the lock called the pan. The pan has a little hole going through into the base of the barrel. It's called the touch hole. You close the pan and seal it by closing this L-shaped piece of steel called a frizzen. The weapon's then cocked by drawing back the hammer. Before it was on half cock. You don't want it to go off half cocked. On full cock, when the trigger is pulled, the hammer flings forward, the flint in the jaws of the hammer strikes the metal plate on the frizzen, creating a spark, and the spark travels down into the pan, causing that powder to ignite, and then run a flame through the touch hole and into the base of the barrel, setting off the main powder charge. And when that sets off, the power created, the weapon fires the musket ball out the length of the barrel.